Well, hello everybody. Today we're joined again with Mr. Lars Lentz, and of course, Mr. Lentz needs no introduction in the sport of IGP. He's a renowned competitor from Denmark and now an international online sensation, along with his rat and his dog Wilma. And so, I would like to welcome you, Mr. Lentz.
Thank you very much. Again,
Uh, so, I wanted to start with having a conversation about, let's say, the countries that are not so keen on the concept of IGP yet, but they have a big interest in it. The sport hasn't reached, let's say, India, Pakistan, Southeast Asia, where the sport is, or maybe even China, where the sport isn't so popular. But people are now, because of the internet and the global reach of the SV and the WSV, they are getting more and more interested in the sport. So, how would you talk about your introduction to the sport, as what we were just discussing 2 minutes ago,
I mean,
off camera?
the way. Thank you for inviting me. And you know what? For me, it's like when I was starting for 35, 40 years ago, it was like we didn't have any trainers, we didn't have any help. We was just trying. I mean, and then we figure out, oh, that was wrong. What about this? What about that? I can give you a good example about tracking. The first 2, 3 years when I laid track, I was walking on a grass field with a pig heart in a leash, dragging it between my legs. And then I put the pig heart at the end of the track, and then the dog sniffs that blood and eat the pig heart. That was it.
Right.
And later we took and put a leash on the dog and play with a bite pillow and then run on tall grass and show that bite pillow and throw it down. And then the dog had to try to find it. That was the way we did it in the beginning.
Right.
And then we figure out maybe that could be a smarter way. But it was not like there was a golden book and there was rules. No, because at that time there was no internet. I mean, first time we was buying a video with Helmut Reiser from Germany. It was number 4 copy, Betamax. That was before you was born. We were sitting there and watching that in black and white, and we couldn't understand the German language, and it was really bad quality. But we get a little bit here and a little bit there, and we have a telefax and we write to each other. And nowadays, everybody have the knowledge like that.
Yes, it's the easiest.
Yes, and talking about that, I mean, in the old days, we was going to the library, and then we learned about Pavlov, Thorndike, Skinner.
Yeah.
If you say that to young people today, when I have seminars, they're a little bit like, what? We know about Pavlov. They have never heard about Skinner and Thorndike.
I mean, the schooling system has failed them.
Or Konrad Lorenz. And I mean, now you can go into YouTube and see small videos with that.
Yeah.
Cartoons, easy to understand.
Yeah.
But it's like the more knowledge people can get, the lazier they get. I don't know how it is. Now I
like
sound
the GPS and finding directions.
Exactly.
I noticed this firsthand when I got the GPS for the first time in my car, and all of a sudden I remembered no places. You know,
how many telephone number can you remember now? 0.
Maybe my own, if I'm lucky.
Yeah, because you need it. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's the only one, really.
Yeah, but then I will also say today, I'm sorry to say, there's also a lot of bullshit on social media.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult for people to navigate in that. Very often when I have seminars, I said, please do yourself that favor, read the rule book. Because when you read that, you can much easier separate what's right and wrong instead of listening to all this and that. Because, hey, come on, it's not a part of the regulation, the rule, the program. So
it was my case. My case was in the very beginning. You know, whenever I was told, I'd be like, all right, you know, these guys know what they're talking about. So, of course, you better listen to them. Till I started doing it more and more by myself and understanding, okay, this is not working. And maybe question what you had been told before and use your common sense filter.
Exactly. And then I also see another culture where when I say to people, why are you doing that? I don't know. I've been told. But does it make sense to you?
Yeah.
No, not really. But what? No. Why didn't you ask your trainer? No, I don't dare. Then I'm out of the club.
It's a figure of authority. It's a figure of authority. Yeah.
and the trainer is maybe a moron standing there. Oh.
Yeah.
But and it's maybe a well-educated person, but they don't dare to question them.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
come on.
I've seen some of these people.
Yeah, I see them every day.
Normal, reasonable, intelligent people.
Yeah, and somebody's dragging them around in the circus in the nose.
Yes.
And steal the money at the same time.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So talking about ethics, could you please give me like a brief introduction about your course, the online course that you teach people? Because since they're not, physically they're next to you, and you have like a big online community that follows you, and you do Zoom classes, right, for tracking. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Could you give me like a brief intro and outro about it, what you teach the classes?
The main product is online one-to-one session where people can buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lesson with me, and then I send a list to them each week with a lot of times slots where they can pick a time for the next week. And then they send a video to me on where the dog is dragging on WhatsApp. I make a report before the meeting about that track. And then we talk about what's wrong and what's right. And honestly, I was very much against it in the beginning, but people was forcing me to do it because of the COVID crisis. And then it turns out for me, well, of course, it's not the same as being there live, but people have 100% for themselves. And that is, there's a lot of benefits in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And not so, go ahead, sorry.
And then also, if I have places where I have been live or I know them, then I say to them, hey, now you have a kind of class here, so you will probably have the same problem. So instead of online classes, we can make Zoom meeting. And then there's a person there, they set up a Zoom meeting once a month with between 6 and 8 person maybe. And they have sent, all of them have sent small videos to me so I can see them. And when the Zoom meeting is on, then we talk, and I talk with each individual person. But the smart thing is everybody in that group have been able to see each other's video. So they have maybe also made notes about the other people's video. So when I'm coming to the last person on the Zoom meeting, I have no question. You have already answered them because they typically have the same question and same doubt and unsecure and all that. And with Zoom meeting, I was thinking about India and Pakistan and stuff like that. It's much, much cheaper because you can have 6, 7 people. And I think the price is $60 per person. And then they take 1.5 hours, 2 hours maybe.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But would it be like a prerequisite for them to attend a class with you before like a live seminar, or they can just get onto the Zoom meeting with you directly and have a conversation?
If they want to go directly for a Zoom meeting, it will make smart if they was aware of that everybody was on almost the same level 0
that would
or
be
top
issue.
level,
Absolutely.
or else it's a little bit like sitting in between 2 chairs. It's too easy for him and too difficult for him.
That's true.
So yeah, that would be easier that way.
Sounds like me in organic chemistry class.
Exactly.
So I had like you've been running a very interesting, or I should say Jack the Rat has been running a very interesting social experiment online.
Yeah, it's
so
funny.
I would like to get into a little bit with that, since we just mentioned you have a very busy schedule with your Zoom meetings, that you have like a long list of schedules. Like we talked about this talk last week, and we were able to find today to talk together. So obviously you have a very heavy schedule between your online classes and your travels, and you're actively training a German Shepherd dog named Wilma, who's a male.
A male. Yeah.
The boy named Sue.
Exactly.
So who has just finished his IGP1 and then finishes FH1 in record time. And somebody would say this is not normal. I would be like, okay, my mouth was open. Then when I messaged you, I was like, okay, color me impressed. I understand the IGP1, but the FH1, okay, now I'm impressed. So I want to ask you that Wilma has become a bit of an internet forum sensation and in the IGP community. And can you tell us about this journey and what makes him stand out in this realm of Schutzhund training, that you've been able to achieve all this with him?
First of all, I will say the way I have, as I am now, it was not my plan. That was not my intention. But since I make a lot of seminars, I saw how people is struggling and fighting and training and spending a lot of money. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe because at that time I didn't have a dog. And then I said, nah, maybe I should get a puppy again to prove and put the money where my mouth is, how easy it actually is. Because I think people is spending way too much time and money on a lot of crap. Sorry to say, but that's because I'm coming from another culture. Because I mean, in my country, if a dog is 2 years old and the dog don't have the IGP-1, what's wrong with that dog? Are you not trained? Are you not satisfied? It's not like, and when I see other people, they are, especially, I'm so sorry about that, especially young ladies coming from the horse world, they train healing maybe 3 years because they want to make a perfect healing, like they see the world champion from Ukraine. And come on, you will never get 300 points anyway. And you turned out with a dog who's 5 years old before you reach IGP-1. And if you need to spend 2-3 years for each, your dog is done when they're 7, maximum 8 years old, then you're out of the game. Instead of, hey, go for it.
I did that stupid mistake with my male. He's now 6 years old, and now IPO3.
And I can mention a lot of names on world-class level who actually become the world champion before the dog was 3 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And of course, those people is training a lot. And of course, it's a genetic, very good dog, but they are not wasting the time. And I think that's important that people understand.
Yeah. So as a challenge to myself, when I started seeing you train with your dog and you had so little time, so I had a young male who had never tracked before. And then I had to do this little conversation with the Club of Pakistan about tracking 101 to, the basics of tracking. So I thought I would make the initial videos, the tracking introduction videos with this male because he had 0 tracks in him. He had never tracked in his life. So from scent pad on to, just footsteps, how to teach the dog footsteps, I made a series of 3 or 4 short videos showing what I'm doing, like basic tracking stuff. And I made the video. And then I started seeing your videos and I'm like, if this dog can do it in this little time, maybe my dog can at least pass. And I'm happy to say last week we made 90 points with the IGP-1 track, the FPI-1 track.
There you see.
And the dog had only 26 track. The 26th track in his life was on the trial day.
And you know what? There's probably a lot of my students who is watching this program now. And it's so funny because I use a lot of time trying to convince them about, please don't aim for 100 points. Aim for 95. If you can make 95, you are in the game. But if you aim for 100, it will take you way too long time. You will get depressed or you will ruin the dog or both.
You will never be happy.
No. So, and nobody is making those points anyway.
Absolutely.
So that's also why, and by the way, that stupid rat, Jack, I use it now as a kind of alter ego. Because now that rat can question a lot of stupid shit. And I can
you don't get in trouble.
Say, hey, it's a stupid toy rat. Because a good example is when we talk about track, I don't believe in aging of track. That's a good example.
Yes.
And to put the money where my mouth is okay. Then I go for the FH, where the track is 2 hours old. And until then, I have not tracked more than 20 minutes old track. And look, no problem.
Yes.
And Foreigner is laying that track. I've never tried that one single time. Yeah, but if it's a distortion of the surface, it should not matter. And I think it's easier to convince people when I'm proving it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what I'm doing is what I'm preaching to people, and they can see the result, hopefully.
Absolutely. So you've been very open about showing both the successes and the mistakes that the dog Wilma made in Wilma's training on social media, and you've posted like the entirety of videos. What inspired you to share such a transparent view of the process, especially when the perceived perception is, we're trying to attain perfection. Like we were talking about, the music videos and 5-second clips of healing and bite work and all that stuff combined into montage, and that's normally what's typically shared. And you're
I
like,
can
here you go, the whole
I can
script's
give
right there.
I can give you a good example because I've been into the sport so many
Yes.
years. I have been into
Yes.
breeding too and selling and buying dogs.
Yeah.
If you want to, and I don't
Yes.
want to mention names and countries, but if you go to famous country,
Maybe bring Jack out and he can tell you.
yeah, and you see a famous dog, and they have they're for sale, and it's an IGP-1 dog. It could be show line, it could be working line dogs, and they have scored tons of points, never under 290 points. Oh, that's nice. And what is the price of the dog? Oh, and the price is high. Okay, no big deal. But can you send me a video? And
it's a cottage industry.
Yeah. They send videos from the training. But no. I would like to see the complete trial. No, you know what? The camera was broken that day.
No, it wasn't.
It is impossible to find a video from big country, famous country from the IGP-1. Why? Yeah. Because a lot of the judges will not allow it.
That's true.
Because they are so friendly with the point, which I think is cool. So they don't want to look silly. I might as well be very honest here. You don't know that, but when I when I order a judge for my trial, I say to the judge, "Hey, you need to be friendly to me, but I will film all of it and it will come on social media." And then the judge says to me, "Thank you very much." Then I know how I can be as a judge because I don't want to look like a clown. Yeah. And when I'm done with the trial, I go to the judge again and say, now you have the chance to say, no, don't put that on social media, because I don't want to throw the judge under the bus.
Yeah, so of course.
I would rather have 80 points for an exercise instead of 95, and then I can put it official out.
Yeah, but generally I would say, as far as club level people go, my biggest pet peeve is the judges who fail club level people with 69 points.
Oh,
these people should not exist.
No, it's like they are acting like we are 10 million people in the dog club, and we are not.
Exactly.
They are throwing them away and scaring them, and I feel so sorry about that.
Yeah. And many people struggle to find, the time and the resources, as we were just talking about, for high-level dog training. And so, let's say, to make it to the world team and all this stuff. And how do you manage to balance a demanding career and intensive travel schedule with an intensive training schedule?
Well, first of all, I will say I have done a lot of different sport in my life, and I have absolutely no talent for anything. I have no talent, but I have learned hard work pays off. So I was very young when I started saying, okay, 8 hours work, 8 hours sleep, but then I had 8 hours left. Yeah. So if I cannot find 1 or 2 hours every day for my passion, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Because what is it I'm doing the last 8 hours? Sitting in front of the television or on the cell phone or or maybe I could only sleep 7 hours. Then I have 1 hour extra for tracking. Yeah. And I think it's very simple actually to cut it down to, okay, I have 8 hours. I also have family. Okay, I have kids. Okay, but I can still find 1 or 2 hours if I want.
That's true.
But it's like, I don't get it. It's like, I'm sorry to say, when we talk about that, I also have a stone in my shoes when all those people is talking about motivation. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of that word because, okay, your dog needs to be motivated. Yeah, you're right. But if you one day is qualified to the World Championship and you're standing in Spain and you have to track, and then you open the box and then you go to the judge and say, you know what, we're not coming today, my dog is not motivated. Would you do that? Have you heard about discipline? I mean,
yes, exactly.
And in all I spend a lot of time with people I train with a lot, going from, oh, we love and passion for the track until, hey, by the way, you have to do it when I say it to you. Or else,
for sure.
Or else it's wasted time for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like anything else in life. Could you imagine Usain Bolt running? I don't feel for running today. I go out and take a cup of coffee. No, fuck you. Damn, sorry, excuse me. But it's like we are in lack of discipline. It's like a no-go word, discipline. I mean, who is going to the civilian job Monday morning? They don't love it, no, but they have to support the family. So that is discipline who's kicking in there.
Well, I remember this Marvin Hagler quote. He was always training like on a really cold beach in the northeast of America, and when he had already millions of dollars and he was a champion, and he would be running on the beach 4 a.m. in the morning yelling "War, war," just to motivate himself, just because he is going to war.
Yeah.
So,
and
I mean,
when we talk about track, when it's really pouring rain, I know I have all the track field alone because everybody else is sitting in the house.
I see the rain start coming down, and I start putting my rain jacket on and getting my dog ready because I know I can go and track. Yes.
Yeah, and you need to rest the dog anyway.
Yes, exactly. So tracking should be restful.
Yeah.
There's food out there.
Exactly. And I mean, a lot of people is afraid of taking action, doing something. Yes. No, I'm not allowed. My trainer have said I cannot. Hey, come on, it's your dog. Do what you want. Come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about people with limited time and limited motivation. What are the key elements or training elements and exercises that you would recommend that they focus on so that the dog keeps progressing in their journey with the tracking?
Well, I'm so blessed. So in my country or in Europe, we have a lot of, a good example is we have the national competition for IGP1 dog.
Oh, wow.
And we have the national competition for all breed IGP1.
Yeah.
So already we also have what we call, that is a part of obedience, like the obedience part from IGP1, but only the obedience part. We have nationals in that too. And they're showing up 60, 70 people.
That's awesome.
But because they are
That's
showing
pretty cool, actually.
They can feel a little bit the game and go into the game and with the big guys and try to come on the stadium instead of if I should present for people in Denmark, hey, in 5 years, if you're good, you can go for an IGP3 competition.
Yeah.
It's way too long. The travel, it's like you need to go directly to the Ironman if you do triathlon. Yes. No. We have small triathlon, small.
Yeah.
And then you can win and get self-confidence there and turn the light on and all that.
Absolutely.
So I think we need that much more. We also have during the summertime competition where it is in obedience and protection work, just one part.
Yes.
And then we're a team.
No, that's fantastic.
And we have fun and instead of it's so dang.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you realize that, you probably don't need so much time. And I also, that's why I try to show now with my dog, and I know I can seem a little bit arrogant, which I don't hope, that I'm traveling 230 days a year.
Yeah.
And if I can make those results anyway with my dog, I think that should maybe give people start thinking, you know what?
Some pause.
The first year I make the protection work myself. If you go into my Facebook page, I'm doing the helper work because I don't have a helper.
Yeah, same.
And so I can make the basic training and all that. Maybe it's not world-class winner. No, but it's good enough for me. And it's convenient. And I mean, people should be a little bit better doing that. They can have a track in the backyard. They can take the son in the family, give him a sleeve on, or his wife standing in the blind and give a grip. Don't make it too rocket science. And you don't need to drive 3 days in that direction to meet a famous trainer.
That's true. That is true.
You can do that once a month. You don't need to do it every time. Because then you're spending way too much time in your car instead of training your dog. And I think we need to simplify it more. And that is what I'm trying to prove. Hey, you don't need to train so much.
Yes.
When I speak with people, typically it's around track. In the south, they are concerned about fire ants. In the north, they're concerned about wintertime. In the west, they're concerned about the wind or the fire in the woods. And the east, all the rain. Yeah, but you know what? Then don't train. Wait, instead of ruin what you're doing. I can take break 3 months with my dog. If the basic foundation is good, it's much better to take a break instead of ruin your training.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like people is looking for excuses.
Oh, I found a work around the ants. I found a work around the ants. I train at midnight. There's no all answers sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, typical, I'm not tracking from mid-May to September because the track field is shitty in Denmark.
Yes.
But so of course you cannot do that and be lazy at the same time. Then you have a problem.
Yes, that's
because
true.
when you have the chances option, you must train like hell.
That's
of
true.
course,
Absolutely.
I admit that.
Absolutely.
But a good example was, what is that, 10, 15 years ago, Finland was the top country in the world, world champion and winning the national teams and all that. And they cannot track 7 months a year because of wind, snow, ice. So that was typical coming to Denmark, track 3 weeks and go home again. But that was good enough.
Yeah.
Because when I start analyzing now, I'm actually spending 50% less on the track field compared to what I did for 20 years ago. Because now I don't have to repair and fix all the problem I have created.
True.
Because I try to avoid problems.
Yes.
And that's also another thing we need to talk about shortly. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot.
Please, please, no. That's the whole point.
But in the old days, we was all the time setting our dogs up for failure.
Yes.
And punish the dog.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's much more, we are maybe setting the dog up for 10% failure and 90% success. Yes. Instead of all that conflict we was creating with the dog. I mean, all of us get bite by our own dog in frustration because the dog was so misunderstood. Instead of easy now, easy now. So it's much better to avoid problem instead of create too many.
True.
I think it's time that somebody's telling people it's not difficult, it's easy and it's funny.
Right. So Wilma's journey has been unusually fast for the training because of the limited time that you've had. What strategies, what particular strategies and techniques did you use to accelerate his development without compromising on quality and his mental well-being?
First of all, already from the first day, I know how the rule book says I have to show him later. And I'm all the time focusing on that.
Yes.
I don't spend time with all kind of smart training in between the legs and all that fancy stuff they're doing. And no, if my dog can do what the rule book says, I'm quite satisfied. But that also means I start with the article when the dog is 8 weeks old, or the send out when the dog is 3 months old, or blind when the dog is 4 months old, because that is what the rule book says.
Yes.
So aiming for that, focusing on that, and then training in actually it's a coincidence, but I have find out that the way that I'm traveling so much and home few days is actually perfect for dog training. Because my dog is standing in professional kennel, relaxing, get good food. The guy, he's very friendly. He is taking the bicycle every day with my dog, take 3K with the dog. So the dog is in good shape. I call him from the airport when I have to pick up the dog. Don't feed my dog the last day. Cool. I come pick up my dog, go directly out and track. And then I compromise my training a lot, maybe 1-2 weeks, and put it back to the guy 2 weeks. So it's training, relax. Training, relax.
HIIT.
Yeah. And you know what? All sport is like that nowadays. I know a lot about bicycle sport. In the old days, Eddie Mask, he was riding 200K every day. Nobody's doing that nowadays. They have figured out, we maybe take 5 times 20K and then high speed,
then just
high
do
intensity.
EPO.
Exactly. It is the same. So, and then I cut the training in small pieces, and then I do it a lot. Bang, 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 bang. It could be today corners, but then it's 50 corners, 100 corners. Or today it's article, then it's 50 or 100 article. And then I try to put it together later. Or 10 sit exercise or whatever it is. And I also have to admit that I have a sentiment feeling when I drive to the guy who have the kennel to take care of my dog. Wilma is like, because of the pressure.
Yes. So the dog is seeing awesome amounts of pressure in that time, and then he gets to recover essentially when you're gone.
But and I don't know about horses, but people who's into horse training, they say it's exactly the same they're doing with horses. They put pressure on the horse, let it be. Pressure on the horse, let it be. And it works super. I will do that in the future.
Yep. And we talked about also, I mean, I should say, Jack talked about these common mistakes that you see handlers making, and they're creating massive pitfalls in people's training. And we had one such spirited conversation that Jack initiated was a tight leash tracking benefits. Can you please shed some light on that?
First of all, there are many, many roads who lead to Rome.
Sure.
Or as they say in Canada, there's 20 ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
But I have been one of those guys in a tight leash.
Yes.
But until now, not a single person have given me a good explanation why should the leash be tight. Then they talk about supporting the dog. Yeah, okay. But what if the dog is not on the track to the trial and you cannot see the track? How will you support your dog in that tight leash?
No, you can't.
Because you're supporting wrong.
Yeah.
If you can see the track, I got it. Check. Or else I don't get it. The only original reason I have heard until now why people is tracking in a tight leash is because they don't trust the dog.
Yes.
And that honest, be my guest, I like that. But let's be honest about it. So maybe you should spend more time teaching the dog to track instead of just pulling the leash.
Yeah.
But I respect, and I've seen many people make great results with that. During that discussion on social media, some of my very good friends, and it was actually a very nice discussion because people was very polite and nice.
Yes. Well, for the most part.
But I have made 100 points many times in a tight leash. Yeah, me too. Yeah. But my dog was not tracking. I was leading the dog around because I could see the whole track.
Right.
So use that as an argument that I can make 100 points in a tight leash, but not the day when you cannot see anything. Then it's
I would make a counterpoint to the tight leash track is I would say that you're correcting the dog, and that is incorrect.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to give feedback. So if your tight leash is there, then that means you're giving feedback to the dog.
And also there's a huge risk that the judge will deduct point from you because of the handling of the leash. That's why I never get taken point of tracking the leash.
Let's say the judge is feeling like Santa Claus that day, and he says the pace never changed, so I cannot take points. The dog is pulling the same way from the start to the end. Let's just say we go with that argument because the rule book says we must not see pace change, right?
And that's right.
So
actually.
now,
but it's you who's in charge of that speed.
Exactly, and but there's no specification of how fast you can go, right?
No. As long as it's consistent.
Right. Exactly. So here's my counterpoint to that. But you can see clearly when you're making corners and stuff, you cannot keep up with the dog if the dog is really going on the track with the tail going, even if it doesn't lift his head and it just barrels through. Every corner, the leash gets a check. That means you are giving a correction, a perceived correction, and you should lose points for that.
Maybe not everybody, but you have a point. But I admit I have seen.
So I'm just throwing the 100-point theory out the window. It's like, hey, the judge looked the other way when the dog corrected itself. You cannot do this in obedience the whole time, grabbing the collar. Push and grab the collar. You cannot do this. You will get DQ'd.
I can give you a small detail about that because I have to admit my FH track, hey, that was a home trial. It was a really shitty field, but it was a home trial. And it was one of my best friends who was the track lay.
Sure.
But when he lay the track, I was standing with the back and drinking beers together with the other guys.
Right.
I don't care about how he lay the track. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm tracking without leash. I cannot do anything anyway. I cannot help my dog. Well, I can say track, and then when the dog take a corner, I look at the judge, and then the judge do like that or like that. I cannot change anything. So it created a very calm situation around, how is the corner? Was it with that stone or that flower over there? I don't care. I just need to know where's the flag. And then I say, zook and pray.
Trust your dog.
Exactly.
So could you highlight more where we would have problems running into that? So A would be the handler overcorrecting the dog. When the dog track is this way, the handler creating problem. Because most like the number one rule is know where your track is when you're training.
I think if people who don't know about track, they think about what would I do in obedience and bring that to the track.
Yes.
That will help them a lot.
Yes.
Because it is a technical, funny exercise, the track the judge wants to see for IGP sport.
Yes.
And I mean, if I want my dog to put the nose down in the footprint, I must make visible footprint, or else how should my dog be able to do it?
Yes.
And I think all of it is common sense. It's not like, oh, I have special knowledge. No, it's common sense. I mean, when you go for the BH,
right,
where is the healing best? With leash or without leash?
I mean, it depends on the dog. If the dog isn't used to the leash, then without leash. If he's used to the leash, then with leash.
But typical, the dog is best without leash. You
Yes,
typically
true.
see a dog where they have to correct a little bit in the leash, but when they take the leash off, the dog is much more open, because
Free.
now we need to play the game. Now we need to trust and teach the dog to do that as we wanted.
Yes, absolutely. No, 100%. 100%.
So, yeah. And by the way, we also need to shortly talk about that. When, let's say, if people get impressed about Wilma.
Yes.
Wilma is also very, very, very good genetic breed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And when we talk about that, I think it's interesting that everybody is so much into, oh, that male dog is a father and that dog is a father to my. Hey, a good advice, go for the mother line. Go for the female.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Because that's the difference between a good and a bad breeder. So if you find a male dog you like to a competition, figure out immediately, does she have some little sisters who is breeding?
Yes.
And then you can secondary take a male dog.
Yes.
Because the female is the difference between good and bad breed. And then another funny thing for me is when people are sitting to, let's say, the World Championship, and they see a dog they love, they say, oh, I want the same, so I want a puppy from that dog. Yeah. No, you should have a puppy from his father and mother.
Yeah, yeah.
Or else you will not have that dog. Yeah, but then you're already one line away from the breed. Yes. You should go, the best you could do was going to his mother.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
Could you make a copy of that litter he is? Instead of get a copy from him? Because maybe he's breeding very shitty.
Yeah, true.
But people, oh, I want that dog. A good example is all that, and I'm not saying it's bad dog, not at all. But if you go into working dog now, and look, they have a ranking list of most visited dog. Wilma is number 5 now.
Sure.
In top 5, Wilma is the only dog who don't have Hercules in the pedigree. The 1, 2, 3, 4, they have Hercules. Then we can say Hercules must be good in breed. Yeah, but we cannot continue going down that road because then we'll be way too much inbreed.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a serious problem in the breed called inbreeding depression, is because everybody's always flocking to the same males. And then you say, oh, shit, my dogs don't want to do obedience. Yeah, I wonder what. Maybe you bred to the dog who didn't like to do obedience because you never saw any obedience from the dog.
And I can see now when people start investigating Wilma and asking me for price and all that, they say, oh, Vega is the father. I say, yeah. And he's I was choosing him as a father. I'm very impressed of that dog. But that's not the best part of my dog. No, that's the mother line, because his mother, Kimi von Tollhaus, is Knox von Tollhaus' little sister.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You didn't even know that.
That's the first thing I noticed about the pedigree of Wilma is Knox's sister is the mother. Yeah. When you initially got it.
For me. Yeah, exactly. I was actually buying that bitch for a lot of money in Germany. Right. And I was breeding her empty, sold her to South Africa, puppies. So now in the nice family in South Africa, they said, Lars, you can pick a male and you can come and get a puppy. So that's actually the connection I have to South Africa.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. And so in a sport, when we are looking for perfection, where it's often showcased and people go out of their way to show how perfect their training is, how perfect their training methodologies is, it's like Jesus will visit you in your sleep and all the gods will shine upon you if you follow their training system, How do you handle setbacks or less than perfect performances, both personally and in terms of social media sharing?
Well,
like you shared Wilma's call out of the blind.
It's interesting because those kind of things change as you get older.
Yes.
A good example is you will never see me to a competition anymore.
Yes.
Because I am such a bad loser. And there's only one winner.
I feel you. Yes.
And you know what? When I was young, first time I was the national winner in Denmark. I finally, I was so happy. And then Monday morning, I opened the door and my neighbor's standing there. I said, "Good morning, neighbor." And he said, "Why the fuck are you so happy?" "Well, actually, I'm the Danish national winner of IGP." And then he looked at me and said, "What's that?" And then I realized we are living in such a small world who don't matter for anybody else than you and me.
No, that's true.
But when you understand that, it doesn't matter that you're losing now and then, because come on, your family love you still.
Yes, I mean, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think people are so afraid of losing that they don't dare to try.
Yes.
And then they give up and leave the sport and blah, blah, blah. And I try very often to say to them, have you ever heard about a person who made 300 points? Have you ever heard about that? I have not. So the perfect dog doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, so easy now. I mean, if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you'll never win in the lottery. You need to try now and then. But if you're a little bit more calm about it and say, yeah, okay, whatever. Shit happens. I mean, if you saw my IGP won that track, the last leg, the half pass of that dog was not tracking at all. The dog was running with the head so much above the ground. I know my dog loved the article, so I know why my dog was doing that. But the dog was not tracking, let's be honest. The grass was too easy for the dog. But so what? And the dog could not come out of the blind.
Yes.
And that was also, that have created a lot of discussion with the judges around the world, because I was switching in the middle of the program.
Yes.
First, I tried to call out. Second time, no result. I know I can call from now to Christmas. He will still be in the blind.
Yes.
So then I said, oh, by the way, I want to pick him up in the blind.
Yes.
And the judge have never tried that before. And as she said to me, but Lars, I take all the point from that exercise because that's your last command. But your dog was going with you out. Yeah, of course, I put the leash on the dog.
Yes.
So in that
Thank you for the new
rules.
rules.
Need to think fast. Yeah, know the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but then again, put it on social media. Be honest about it.
Yes.
And okay, we can cut it down. Why not? I mean, if I should buy a dog, I would rather have a dog who don't want to come out of the blind than a dog is coming too early out of the blind.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So
the dog doesn't want to be in the blind. Yeah.
But if my dog was running away from the helper, maybe there was not be any video. Maybe my camera will have been damaged that day. That's how it is.
So, right. So how do you adapt your training methods for Wilma? Again, going back to the question at hand, when time constraints prevent you from sticking to a traditional training circle. Like we were talking about, intensive training in that point, but what if something is going drastically wrong? How do you track your steps back? Because you have like a deadline in sight. So like the coming week, you have IGP signed up.
It's a good question, but for me, and that is regarding to other people I'm helping too. A lot of people, if they do something with the dog who is wrong, and I said, hey, what is your plan now? I need to change. No. For me, step one, when you do something wrong, step one is admit it. Admit it's wrong what you're doing. And that can be difficult for a lot of people to admit it. It's wrong. You're doing the same over and over and over again. The dog have chewing that dumbbell for 3 years. You know it's wrong. So first step is admit it's wrong. Next step is not to change. No, next step is stop what you're doing.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and then people are saying, but what then? I don't know. But stop. And then you start being creative and start thinking, maybe I will do that, do this, do that. So, I mean, admit it, stop, and then change your training. Instead of a lot of people say, if that doesn't work, I need to change. And if I cannot come up with another solution, I might as well continue. And I don't get it. Stop. That will not make your dog better.
Yeah, I can give you a
So
personalized example for this one. We had the trial this past week, and we had this lovely lady that comes in trials often with us, and she's wants to run the blinds before because the dog never saw these blinds, so to practice. So the dog's going for IGP2, and she's running all four blinds, even the last one. Guess what happened in trial? The dog ran the last blind too back to her.
exactly. That's what you told me last time I was here.
Exactly.
I can give you another example. I have a group of nice ladies who's actually tomorrow is going to the first trial.
Yes.
Not the first. One is going for IGP1, and the two of them is going for IGP2.
Sure.
And the track condition is maybe not super perfect, and then they have the chance to train on the track field the day before.
Yes.
Or 2 days before. And they also have the chance that the track layer have said, I can lay a track for you. So you can try that. And they contact me and say, what do you think, Lars? And I said, it's an interesting question, because if you try with the same track layer as you need to use for the trial, and it works out good, perfect. But what if it doesn't? You make a mistake? Then you're under pressure. And you have not time enough to change that bad thing you saw. So maybe it's better to stay away from it.
Yeah, 100%.
I can give you an example. I was to the World Championship. My bitch was in heat. So you're not allowed to train on stadium, but you get 5 minutes before your obedience and 5 minutes before your protection work.
Yes.
But I refuse to use it. And people start yelling and screaming at me and say, no, you're an idiot. Yeah, but come on, it's Sunday afternoon. There's sitting 5,000 people on the stadium in Germany. If my dog make a mistake in obedience, what should I do? Should I put an e-collar on the dog and fry the dog? Or should I use a prong collar? Or I'm not allowed to do that. I cannot do anything if my dog make a mistake because everybody is watching me. So it's better to say no. Last time I trained, it was good. But
I agree.
You need to take that consideration that you could fail big.
Absolutely.
So back to your question. If I make a mistake with my dog very fast, and I have a very nice friend, very loyal, put the dog in the car, go in the clubhouse, drink a beer. That was bad training. Yeah. Maybe we should change. Maybe. We're not going to do that. And maybe we're not training more today because I need to think. But you are right. We have to stop now because we're going down the wrong road now.
Yes.
So it's much better to stop when you see a bad behavior or wrong behavior instead of continue, because it's not getting better by you do it several times. I mean, if you take a hammer and hammer on your finger, it will also hurt tomorrow if you try.
Yes.
Don't do it.
I love it. Yeah. And what advice would you give somebody just starting out in the IGP who don't have, a culture of IGP? Like now the US has a culture of IGP, even though it's, spread out in small pockets. Western Europe has a very developed culture of IGP. What advice would you give to people, let's say, in the countries that don't have IGP as a requirement, but they are interested in doing IGP with their dogs as the sport grows, let's say in the developing world, like India or Pakistan or China, and even to a certain extent, I would say Australia, where it's very limited. How would you help people, or what would you say to people who are just starting out in the IGP culture there with a busy schedule? Everybody's got jobs, everybody's got a tight budget, especially if you aspire to compete at a high level, even though maybe it just might be limited to their country at first.
I think the first step, if let's say you watch a lot of videos and say, oh, that's beautiful, I would like to join that sport. First step would, if I was brand new and I have to do it all over again, I will go on YouTube and then I will watch small cartoon with Skinner, Thorndike, Pavlov, all those guys, Conrad Lorenz. So I know about classic condition, basic foundation in training. And when I understand that, I will try to play that into my dog and have the rule book at the same time. Because the rule book is actually quite good. I mean, sit is quite easy to understand. Okay, then I have to say sit, and my dog have to sit. That's not rocket science.
True.
Even if a lot of people try to make it to rocket science.
Yes. I mean, I have a girl that literally trained maybe 10 sessions before we did obedience. Of course, we did foundational obedience and everything. But it was maybe we did total everything, not even 10 times before the trial. We made her BH. I was thinking maybe she don't stay in the long down. She stayed in the long down too. So she got a very good BH. And I surprised myself that I didn't have to train for 1 year for BH.
I mean, I have a client in Venezuela. He made the IGP-1 with a mixed breed, half Labrador, half Mali, and he tracked without leash the first time ever. He's the first time in Venezuela who made a IGP-1.
I love
he showed
it.
a video,
amazing.
And he didn't hide anything.
Yeah.
But he was so far away from the dog, so the cameraman could not follow him and the dog at the same time. He said, but I suppose we have to do that, Lars, as you told me. And he have only learned that from online classes.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so amazing.
But I think, sorry to say, many people don't know that they are actually going for high-level dog sport when they go for IGP.
Yes.
And I make a little bit joke out about that now and then. I say to people, would you sign in for triathlon? No, I have no time for that. No. It's the same with IGP, IGPO, IGP now. Yeah, change name all the time. Old idiot, sorry. And when you suddenly understand it, don't believe all the fancy stuff you hear. Yes. Don't believe that you need to make 290 points to the first IGP-1. Don't believe that everybody is training with a piece of food and a clicker. Don't believe that. A good example is if you go to the World Championship, how many of top 10 do you think have that dog since it was a puppy? Half of them?
Most of them don't.
No. They take a wild, crazy dog, bang, 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 until it's super and brilliant because they are very good dog trainers.
Yeah.
But people must not compare them with them.
I mean, I don't want to say names, of course, it's, because I don't have Jack, maybe then Jack would say it. But I know of multiple people from America that have been to the World Championships. They bought dogs that were completely trained and they just walk on the field, make a BH. They do an IGP 1, 2, 3 because they have so much experience with these dogs, but they don't have to worry about going through developing the puppy, hurting the puppy, maybe doing something. The dog is already his own man or woman, and the dog is, got a lot of foundation.
And that is actually the road I'm going down now with Wilma. Because I don't want to compete, but I love to build up a dog, and I'm quite good at that. I'm not good at competing. But then, I mean, the last 3 dogs I educated, they went to the World Championship with another handler. So I make the dog ready, then you can go to the Worlds. Actually, number 2 in the world, you've been addicted. I educate that dog. I make 100-point protection work with that dog to a qualification to the World Championship before I sold it to the guy who became number 2. And I mean, it's like, why not? If you don't like to do all that puppy, which I love, okay, you pay me for it. So absolutely. It was like, for some years, it was like in Denmark when rumors was, oh, Lars is going to have a puppy from that litter. People was contacting that breeder and said, can we be in line when Lars don't want to have it anymore? Because they know when the dog is around 2 years old, no, I take another one. And then I would like to have it because they know the foundation is good.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's also, at the other hand, a clear proof that a lot of people is not training the dog from puppy to adult.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people, if they only use common sense, they will reach much higher level instead of trusting and believing stupid trainers.
True. Yeah, you don't need to wait for winter solstice for your healing or your obedience to be better. Or the Mercury in retrograde, whatever that might be. So looking back at Wilma's journey so far, what are the key lessons that you've learned and you think you could benefit other handlers trying to balance life and high-level dog training?
Because the sport also changed a little bit, if I should do that again with another puppy, it is essential for me to focus a lot of the socializing with the dog, the environment training, because the dog needs today to be very stable. So, and Wilma was on the edge with the nerve when he was a puppy. So I was, every time I was home, going to the train station, going to the bus station, taking the train with him, taking the bicycle, putting him up in front of my bicycle in a small bag, so he get used to that, because it's essential nowadays. The new character test they have is quite big.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think If you can do that, you're on the right way. And then look at the rule book and then just train for that. And don't mix too much at the same time. Take one discipline at the time. Okay, today I'm tracking with my dog. Yeah. And understand that you will not get the results today or not tomorrow, but it will come. Yeah. It will come. Yeah. I can give you a good example. My wife, she hates dog sport and she hates dog people. But she was forcing me. But she was forcing me for some years ago to make a small diary.
Yes.
Because she was so tired every time I come home from training. Oh, that dog is so stupid. And the old one was much better. Now we take the diary and we look, no, the dog was also stupid. The last dog was also stupid at the same age. Yeah. But I forgot it.
Yes.
So I mean, I've started make a small note now and then. Yeah. Make a small note. Because we forget all the bad training. All the hard training.
Absolutely.
It is in my life, the longer time since the dog died, the better the dog was.
Right, yeah. The legends.
Exactly. Unicorn.
Yeah, mythology. That's how mythology becomes fact.
Exactly.
Right. So do you think we skipped on anything that you'd like to add?
A funny little thing I make a note about is people nowadays is so addicted to get a trainer.
Yes.
And they put all the responsibility on the trainer.
Yes.
And the trainer take a lot of money, including me.
Sure.
And I mean, in the old days, if you want to be fit, okay, you buy a dumbbell and then you train with that. No. Yeah. Now you have to go to the fitness center and get a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not rocket science to lift that weight. You can do that yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like
there's enough YouTube videos.
Somebody have to tell us all the time.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey, you can do it yourself, you can save a lot of money.
Yeah.
It don't have to be world-class level. And then try to avoid mistakes. Yes. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. I mean, all of us is making a mistake, but please don't repeat the same mistake. And then maybe it sounds a little bit silly for a lot of people, but I would love to see much more people have fun.
Yes.
When I have track seminars, when we train with the dog, every second word I'm saying is, put on your happy face, smile, laugh. Yes. We're not going to a funeral.
Yes.
Because it's easier to conquer a problem if we have fun.
Yes. Yes.
A little bit philosophic. I see people working super hard 5 days a week, so they have money enough to go training dog, and then they are not happy when they train dog, and then they go back Monday and work hard again 5 days.
They're upset with the dog. Like it's not working. Yeah, everything is in downward spiral. Yeah.
Instead of forget the essence. You can imagine how many ladies I've seen crying in frustration. Come on, it should be fun. It's your hobby.
Yeah.
But they put a lot of pressure on themselves.
It's like a second job. Yeah, it's like a second job at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of it's actually here, I should gain energy and have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It's not a de-stressor anymore. It's a job. And I think that's when it's time to start reconsidering what you're doing with your dog.
Yeah, and be honest about it. I mean, in my club, I have a friend, huge guy, really big.
Yeah.
And I go to him now and then. I say, Svensson, that's his name. I have to go for a trial next month. Oh my God, here we go again. Because you know the rules. The rule is from that day on until the trial, he needs to be my dog's wingman. So people can see me train, and sometimes he pushes me away, take the dog and put it in the car.
Right.
Because I know I have a lot of temperament, but it's not good for the dog.
Sure, absolutely.
So I have make a deal with him, take the dog away from me when I hit that level. And you know what? Yes. I will scream and yell at you, and I hate you. But he's so big, I cannot beat him. So he's just like, I don't care. But when we're done with the trial, then I need to bring him to the city, drink a lot of beer, have a big party going on, because now I need to recover our relationship that we're still good friends.
I need to find Svensson too.
But all of it is starting with, I'm honest. I know my own temperament, and I know it don't give me any benefits. It's not smart.
Yeah, self-actualization or self-realization is the most important part of all of this. And
Yeah.
I guess we can take an overarching message for life. It's not just in dog training, but knowing
Yeah.
where we are, where we stand. I think it's a very important lesson, not just in all aspects of life, whether it's relationships, whether it's your professional life, or whether it's dog sport.
So what I mean about a country who don't know about IGP sport, make it simple.
Yes.
Try. You can get good outcome by trying.
Yes. Yes.
Also because a lot of seminars and online and video is very expensive for those kind of country.
Yeah.
So they cannot afford
I mean,
it.
it's funny. It's like because there's a lot of people that have a lot of money and they've bring in, the foremost experts from the world, like the German champions and this and that, and the WSV winners. Yeah. And they come and teach them every time the same basics, and they go home and they say, yes, yes, yes. They take a photo with a certificate. We attended this and this seminar. And then it's like, what does that mean? Yeah. That does not say IGP1. That just says you were at the seminar.
But it's a little bit interesting because some country, it's such a big culture. I have spent the whole last day on a seminar, signature on diploma and photos with the family with diploma.
Yes.
But
yes.
And then they can look what I have on my wall. I know that guy, that guy, and that guy. Yeah, but you have not trained your dog.
Yes.
Come on.
No, that means nothing. And then they'll have their kennel help go get the dog. It's like they don't even have the decency to bring their own dog. They say, hey, bring my dog. It's like, who the fuck are you? Go get your dog.
Exactly. Actually, I was getting in trouble with that in Brazil because I said to a guy, you pick your dog yourself. What? I have a young guy to do that. I don't care. You have to pick it
well, then
yourself.
He's the trainer. He's the owner. You're not the owner.
If you cannot even take the dog out of the car, it don't make sense to train it.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Or if you don't pick up after your dog, you're not a trainer.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the basic needs of your dog. So I think that's like a cultural difficulty that we might have to, or they might have to face. But it's, I think the sport is going because there's enough young people, the young professionals that want to do it. And hearing from somebody as accomplished as you, I think might be just a shot in the arm that they need. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So,
and I mean, at the end of the day, make it simple. Have fun.
Absolutely.
Try.
Keep it simple,
and
stupid.
Make mistakes and say, oh, that was stupid. Okay, I try again.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's the big takeaway we have.
When I look back what we have done of mistake, oh my God, and we'll probably continue making a lot of mistakes.
Yes, I mean, we're only human, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining us today, sir. It was,
you're welcome.
Like last time, it was an absolute pleasure. And I hope we can do this in the future again.
Thank you very much.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thanks.
Thanks.